What is up, y'all? I'm just out here in the garage. We're finally gonna do this damn thing. Hope y'all had a amazing Independence Day. We're finally gonna get after this G8. We're gonna get this fuel system done. So big shout out, number one to Driven Speed Performance for the DSX Aux kit. This is the DSX Aux kit. So you have your inline pump. We got both our fuel lines. We've got our clamps and our T-fitting that goes on. And then this is the mount that is going to mount the pump up underneath the car. And then we have our wire harness that we got to wire in. We've got to run this back to the pump and all the way up to the front of the car. Plug it into the map sensor and wire it up as well for power. And then they supplied a couple zip ties, but I've got a ton of zip ties over there. So I am not really worried about it. The aux kit comes with instructions. Obviously, like on that page, you can see how it's mounted up under the car. Pretty cool. But yeah, it's got pictures in case y'all can't read. Just kidding. But yeah, definitely got instructions. I think we've got everything there. Oh, another thing. This is the big part about this kit right here. Drill bit. 37/64 drill bit. And we've got 3/8 18 pipe tap. So we need to make sure that we get that hole right. Also, when we run the bit through, we need to make sure all the pieces come out of the tank and not back in the tank. Also, we need to make sure that we don't round the hole out because we got to run that tap up in there. Obviously, I didn't buy this kit from them, but I am going to put some tape on the tap so I don't tap it too far. Usually the tape runs about halfway down the threads on the tap, if you've seen any other install videos. But yeah, that's about the funnest part of doing this kit is having to drill your fuel tank. So, biggest problem right now for me is this car has a bunch of fuel in it. So I've got to go run all the fuel out of this car and hopefully get it on walk, not just empty. And yeah, we'll get the car up in the air and we'll get all this stuff put on. Hopefully if my tuner's watching, Kaiser Motorsports right here, you know, hopefully if you're watching, I'm gonna need you soon, buddy. So I don't know how the car is gonna do. It does have a booster pump on it right now with a ZL1 pump. So I don't know how that system's gonna work. I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna have to detach the booster pump and just wire the main pump back up original. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if I have any need for the booster pump anymore. But yeah, that's the only thing that's gonna change other than the fact that when it comes under boost at about 4 PSI, this second pump here is gonna kick on to make sure we don't have any pressure drop. And yeah, the car's gonna have to be, I'm gonna have to get the wideband fixed in this thing. So that'll be another thing. We'll have to put a new wideband in the car. I've got 2 in it currently and both are dead, thanks AEM. Awesome widebands you guys got. And yeah, they lasted about a month and a half. But anyways, we're gonna get all the fuel out of this car and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Trying to waste some fuel. We're still got a lot of fuel left to burn in this thing, so I'm gonna go do a couple of laps or something, see if I can get in some trouble, you know what I mean, and we'll get back to the shop and get this install going. Well, that only took forever, but we got it down there, almost to walk. Almost. You can see a little guy down there, little walking, like, crosswalk guy. It's almost there. Alright guys, I was going to do this with my head strap, my GoPro mount. But every time I buy one of those, they end up missing. They must be gold to somebody else because every time I go to Mexico, ends up missing. Anyways, let's go. And we'll go back to the back of the car because that's the most important thing to do first since that epoxy doesn't set up quite right away. So what we're gonna do is, it says not to use an electric drill, which this one's dead. But anyways, if you look down in there, when you're using your drill, it kind of sparks a little bit, so that's why they say to use an air drill, so that's what we're going to do. You don't have to do it, just to be careful. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go back up under here. We're going to look at where they want this hole. So if we get back here, it says basically by the strap, in between the strap and the exhaust is where you want to do it, on the corner of on the fuel tank. You don't want it on the bottom, but you want it on the corner. So let's go look and see. Basically they want it right here. So if you look back from the back of the car, they want it right here at an angle. They have it orientated when they drill it in here to point towards the strap so you can connect to it and go back this way. So if you were to look at the diagram, you see it's pointing towards the strap. That's what we got to do. Alright guys, I got the spot marked right here. That's where I'm going to do it. That's where I can get it to where I guess I can turn the fitting basically. Isn't that just so wrong? Make sure you clear the little pieces out. Okay, so you don't want it to get any bigger than that bit, obviously, so we're going to let the rest of that drip out. It's actually kind of hard to do to not get chips, but it seems like most of the chips came out. And we shouldn't have any in the tank. So next, we have to finger the hole and then tap it. That's what you have to do, just so you know. Sweet. Awesome. We're going to let this drip out, and then we'll tap it. We've got our tap. I just have a metric 16 holding this on my regular wrench here. So basically we're gonna go in. It's still coming out. Look at that, dude. I'm gonna go in. You could almost probably do this by hand. Once you go in a few, you want to take the tap out, clean out all this plastic crap from the tank. You don't want that getting in the tank. Basically, if you buy this tap from them, they tape it about halfway down. So basically you don't want to run the tap all the way through the tank, because then your hole will be too big. And I think we're probably there as far as that goes. So we're gonna check. Alright guys, I don't want to wait any longer. It's gonna keep leaking. I know guys do this, but we're gonna get this epoxy stuff that we got here. We're gonna put it on the threads because they seem to leak more often than not, if not done right. Maybe, I'm not sure. Some people say this stuff never cures, so it's gonna look like that. Alright, so you can see how shitty that looks. But hopefully it cures up, and then we'll add more. We'll add more to it. But yeah, it's supposed to cure overnight. So basically that's why I'm doing it tonight. So I don't know how far I'll get on this thing tonight, but I wanted to get that hole drilled and that stuff put on so we could technically drive the car tomorrow if we really wanted to, if we get everything done. So the next part is mounting the pump, which is going to go right up here, and we got to slide a bracket all the way down that tray, basically all the way to where those two holes are. So that's next. All right, so here's the next part. If you're hillbilly like me, they want you to use a coat hanger, but if you're hillbilly like me, I just had an old fishing pole rod that I don't need anymore, and I'm gonna fish it down with this. I barely taped it so that way I can just pull it out once I got it in there. So let's see how this works. So what you're trying to do is you're gonna put this all the way down here till it hits these two holes, and it should line up. This actually works way better, dude. Look at that, it's already lined up. Super sick. I'm gonna put this on real quick. I can't use one hand. All right, oh look, I didn't even ruin my finishing pole. I didn't even ruin it. Got it all on there. It took me like literally like 10 seconds, dude. Screw a coat hanger. If you got an old fishing pole, works perfect, dude. Just barely tape it, slide it down there, and be easy with the bolts. So go right in, pull it out, you're all set. All right, guys. So when you're putting this pump on, what they don't, maybe they do tell you in the instructions, but what I did was I tightened this down first. Well, what happened, it was just too far in, and when I went to put these clamps on, I couldn't get the clamps down. As you can see, when they're out like this, you can get the clamps on. See the little flange part? So if it's all the way in, you can't get the clamps down the side of that wall to get down and get tightened. So make sure you have it out like this before you try. And then it'll probably be fine if you keep it out there too, as well, just in case you have to service the pump. And you can change these pumps out to a different one. But yeah, little tip for you guys. But yeah, that's kind of a pain in the ass. This isn't even one that wasn't even the hard part of getting the plate down in here. It was hard actually with one hand trying to do this and compress the clamps and everything else. If you had a pair of needle nose to compress the clamps and then put the nut on, or maybe somebody else to help you, probably be better. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna tighten it up. Should be good to go. Also, just to let you guys know, these bolts and the nut are 10 mil, and then when you tighten the other ones, these are gonna be 13s. At least that's what I'm using. And you can see the head of the bolt. Yeah, they're metric. So yeah, 13s and 10s. Hell yeah. Next we'll have to do the hose. We got to put the T-fitting back in the back here, right here. So we'll have to put our T-fitting on there, run our hoses, make sure they're all secure, and then we got to run our wiring, and then we should be good to go. So yeah, we're gonna do that. What's up, y'all? So I ran into the hardest part so far. Anyways, our fitting, it doesn't look like this at all. That's the SS fitting. Obviously, this is the instructions for SS fitting. Our fitting looks like that, and it's got a tab on both sides. As you can see there, I mangled them, pressing them with screwdrivers on both sides because I don't have the proper tool, the fuel line remover pliers that actually crimp and grab that so you can actually push forward, crimp it, pull it off. So once you get that off, it's pretty easy. I found that you have to put this on first. So this slides onto the existing fuel line. It'll slide all the way on, and you have to actually push it on until it pops. And so you get that on. You want this exiting out towards the passenger side. Then you can put this on to where it clips on. So they're both clipped on now. So basically now I run this line up to my pump, and yeah, so we'll get this all connected real quick and then I'll give you guys an update. All right, guys. Here's kind of the pain in the ass. Here's the situation. So the fitting that you install here, it's actually going to sit up like this. So it's kind of sit up like that we're gonna have to trim this plastic piece to put the hose behind this, so this holds it up. And then, if you see, this is the way the lines are gonna run. This is gonna run all the way down here. We gotta figure out a way to secure it. It's gonna be secured here, but then we gotta figure out a way to secure it down the car. That line goes to the front of the pump with the 150-degree fitting on it. And then the other line goes from the back, the filter, all the way back to the line we put in the bottom of the tank. I think we're gonna end up securing them all the way down the pinch weld here. And I'm gonna get some, I'm gonna have to get some clamps from work tomorrow that are actually gonna make this look good. They're just a rubber clamp, and we'll just attach them to the pinch weld and clean all this up. I'll show you how that looks, and then all we got left to do is wire up everything, and the install should be done after that. But yeah, we'll catch up. I'm gonna go get some sleep. I still gotta work in the morning, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Oh man, all right guys, we're back. Had to finish up my work day. It's kind of crazy. I went to bed at like 3 a.m. got up at 5, got ready for work, went to work. Awesome times. So we've got our controller here that comes in the DSX kit. I've already taken the wires that run down and down to the pump, and so if you guys can see down there, right down in there, I wish I had a zoom. I don't know if you can see where I ran the wires through. Take the wheel off, you're gonna have to get back behind the inner fender anyways. Yeah, so you can pull the wires through where your brake lines come through, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna run it behind the inner fender, and this is where it kind of gets tricky because you gotta get under here. Your inner fender ends here, pop the clips out, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna reach up in there and you're gonna grab the wires and pull them down. Just take your time, reach up in there, grab them, pull them through. And then what I did is I came through here. On here, mine's a little more beat up because people have jacked it up here. But what I did is I pulled the wire to this hole, and then to this hole, and then to this hole, and then I pulled it out, and you can see the wires are here, and they will connect to the front of the pump there. So pretty easy. I don't know, I think that's going to be the easiest. We still got to tighten all the lines. We still got to put all the lines up away from, obviously, from hanging underneath the car, so we're going to do that. But I wanted to get these wires ran first so we can complete the install up front. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that before I moved on. I'll just try to give you little updates instead of making you watch the whole damn thing. But you guys can always ask questions down below. So yeah, we're going to continue, and everything I do, I'll try to update you guys. All right, y'all, so I think I'm done under here. I'm just going to show you kind of what I did. So obviously we got these 3/4 clamps, and then number 10 by half hex drilling screws. And you want the good ones, and you'll know they're good because they got this like silver coating on it. It's like a Climasil coating. The good ones, not the cheap zinc ones. But if that's all you can find, then yeah, go for it. You might have to use more than one though. So you kind of look here. We got the pump all wired up. I got the wires going through here, all the way through here, up the inner fender where I showed you. And then what I did was these lines, kind of see, come off here, come off there, they go toward the outside here. And I've got one clamp here, I've got one clamp there, and then I've got a clamp back here. And then I did take this off, and it's just some nuts. So these little plastic nuts on each side, and then these little clips It's kind of hard to explain, but it wraps around on the inside and comes through. But you can see you got to push that way to actually push it back through. You don't want to, you're not going to pull it this way. You're going to push it in, and it's going to go down in a hole so you can get this off. And then basically what I did is I notched it here for the line to come through, and then I notched it on the other side too, so it wouldn't hit. It's still there, but it's gonna hold. It's not going anywhere. And then hopefully this all holds. All the lines are all tightened up there, you know, all the way up to the pump. And then when I secured these ones, I just went to the outer edge, went through, and then I've got a zip tie in the middle here to hold this line here, because I don't want to put a bunch of holes in the bottom of the car, but I don't really care because it's a street car. Let's just be honest. I mean, look at it. This ain't a show car. But you guys could probably find, they do supply zip ties. If you want to try to zip tie everything out of the way, that's probably what you should do. If you like this setup more, then 3/4 rubber P-clamps and those screws, and it works awesome. So, like I said, we're done down here. Some people actually make a plate to cover this, you know, so it doesn't get all messed up, depending on how much you drive your car. And then some people actually make a plate. I'll put a picture in of my buddy's car, or they put a plate to cover that, just in case you're ever somewhere where you might hit something. At least you're not going to rip the fitting out of the tank. You know, you'll hit the plate. Hopefully you'll hit that little skid plate and be all right. But yeah, we're finished here. We got to go up front, wire everything up, and then yeah, should be pretty close to being done. So we got to the front of the car. We got the module. It's sitting up here. The next steps I'm going to show you here real quick, because I guess the biggest thing about this kit was it's all Chevy SS instructions, which isn't the same as the G8. Obviously, the fuel fitting at the back is different. Your location of where you're putting that fitting in the back, it's very similar. It looks probably exactly the same, about the same location, but other than that, that fitting in the back that you actually have to unplug for the T-fitting, that's different on this car, the way you get it off. And that obviously up here is different. So on the Chevy SS, you have, let's see if we can get your light in here. So on the G8, the ground strap is here, and as you can see, there's a black wire that comes from the control module, and this black wire right here is your ground. What I did was, they want you to unscrew that. Well, there was enough thread sticking through that I could just put a nut on it and tighten it down. So 13 wrench on the outside of that nut. We got that on there, and on the SS, the positive, I believe, is on the same side. Well, on the G8, it's over here. So what would have been awesome to have this module mounted up here, now we have to mount it over here. And so, you know, you could find a good spot right there, and you could use some self-taffers and put it there, because you have to have the cover on here. This wire isn't quite long enough unless you extend it, which you always could, put a new ring on it, and this is your positive connection, where your positive connection goes. So negative, positive, and then you got to mount this when you're done. It just is going to be cleaner, and you're not going to have it flopping around, and yeah, so we'll do that. That kind of completes that part of it, of wiring it up. And then you have your other harness that runs over to your map sensor. Obviously, this is an LSA car, but map sensors are map sensors. So on my car, this is where it is. Basically, you end up with, pull this out, you've got your factory harness, which would be this, that would run into your map sensor. And you basically unplug that, you plug it into the harness that they're giving you, and then the other one plugs into here, and then obviously you gotta hide your wires away. But yeah, that kind of completes the whole install for this. like I said, these instructions, they were for the SS, so it was kind of different in some parts, but most of it is all the same. So yeah, pretty simple. All the wiring you have to do up here obviously is the map sensor, ground, positive, obviously secure this, hide all your wiring, run the wires down the fender wall inside the inner fender, get them back there to the pump, and then everything that I showed you guys. There's no priming, there's no nothing. As soon as this hits 4 psi, it'll turn on. That's the way this works, at least for this. Next we have, come over here, it's kind of a mess. I've got to put a wideband in the car, and then I have the flex fuel sensor actually to put in the car, which is very simple. It's just putting that in, putting all the hoses on, plugging this into the O2 sensor, running this wire over the fuse box, the front fuse box up there, the actual main fuse box, and pinning that. So that's, I'm gonna probably leave this in one video, the DSX install, and then we'll get the 85 sensor put in the next one. That'll probably be a lot shorter video, but yeah, it's pretty simple. If you guys got any questions, make sure you drop them below. And as always, if you got suggestions, put them down there. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in this next one, because I don't think I'm going to put it all in one, just because nobody really likes to watch a video that long. So hopefully this one wasn't too long for you guys. Hopefully you guys got enough information on this. And once we get that sensor put on, my tuner's already working on the tune for the car. We'll get it out. It's probably not going to be up as far as we can get it. We will need to get it on a dyno so he can actually lay the power down with this thing and see what we can do on E85. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, y'all. Like I said, if you got any questions, put them below in the comments. Make sure you like. If you're not subscribed, which I think like 50% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, consider subscribing. Would be awesome. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.